Well, I gotta start off by giving the movie Girls Trip a round of applause. Like, my god, good job, Girls Trip. I never thought it would make that much money in the box office. Whew, it deserves it. It's a good movie. Hey everyone, welcome to another ranking, and welcome to my ranking of Malcolm Deely's movies. Yes, if you don't know who Malcolm Deely is, he is a film director, and he just directed the movie that came out last week, Girls Trip. And I'm here to celebrate his movie, Girls Trip, because it made a killing in the box office opening week, and it did it again the second week. Like, it is doing really well in the box office, and it's just a comedy. It's just a female lead comedy, raunchy comedy film, and it's doing really well. It's doing way better than Rough Night did, and it's doing shockingly well. I thought it would do good critically because it's a great film, but I never thought it would make this much money. Like, I think it might be, who knows, it might be the most top 10, most highest grossing summer movie of this year. Who knows if it gets that high, but yeah, it's good for this movie. It's a really good film, and you know what? I'm here to celebrate that film and celebrate this filmmaker by giving my ranking of all of his films. Because Malcolm Deely's been making movies for years now, and he's got a lot of great movies. He's got a lot of shitty movies, really fucking awful ones. But so yeah, I'm going to be talking about every single one of his movies. He's directed 9 films, and I'm going to rank them all from my least favorite to my favorite. All right, let's get started. Coming at number 9 is Scary Movie 5. Yes. This movie's awful. This is one of the worst comedies, probably one of the worst comedies ever in this past decade, right there with Jack and Jill and a shit ton of other ones, and one of the worst satires, the worst scary movie. Yeah, this movie's awful. Yes, I'm not a big fan of the scary movies. Like, the first one was okay, that was the one directed by Keaton Harvey Wayans, it was the Wayans brothers, and it was fine. Like, it wasn't that great. It had a few funny jokes, but nothing that great. Scary Movie 2 was stupid. Scary Movie 3 was stupid. Scary Movie 4 was stupid. Scary Movie 5, Big Shock, was stupid. It was not funny. Like, it was just throwing as much references to modern horror films as they can, mostly like Insidious and Paranormal Activity. And it's so weird because we already had satires of Paranormal Activity, and then they had to do another one with a haunted house and a haunted house 2. Like, oh my god, stop with the spoof movies. Spoof movies aren't funny anymore. The spoof movies haven't been funny in years. I haven't really liked the spoof movies since frickin' Mel Brooks with like Blazing Saddles and Robin Hood Men in Tights and Young Frankenstein. That's how you properly do satire and parody. They're just stupid movies. They're just movies that make fun of other films, throw a lot of references, and just make incredibly unfunny jokes. And Scary Movie 5 is exactly that. The movie friggin' opens with Charlie Sheen and Lindsay Lohan, because, you know, they were once famous, and yeah, this movie, it's so unfunny and so stupid. It's baffling that this filmmaker has made great movies, and he also made this one. Like when I start talking about my number 1 and my number 2, it's shocking that he did this kind of lowbrow comedy, and it's so unfunny and so friggin' stupid. And yeah, it's my least favorite movie he's made. Coming number 8 is Welcome Home, Roscoe Jenkins. This is another one. Oh my, I haven't seen this movie since it came out. I think this movie came out, well, I don't know, I'm like 2011 or something, 2010, maybe 2009, I don't fucking know. I saw this movie when it first came out. I saw it in theaters, actually, with my brother. It was so bad. This movie was so bad and so unfunny, and I hated every single one of these characters, and I just never wanted to watch this movie ever again, and I never did. It's not very memorable. I barely remember a lot of things that happened, but I remember Mark Lawrence going back home going to a family reunion, bringing his new girlfriend and all that stuff, and he's got a wacky family, and Michael Clark Duncan's in the movie for some stupid reason. Rest in peace, man. This movie is just so unfunny, and it has the most unlikable characters, the most cliched characters. It is so predictable. It follows the comedic family formula in film just to a T. There's nothing original about this movie. There's nothing that you cannot see coming in this film, and it's so bad. I'm not a Martin Lawrence fan. Like, I know there's a fan base for Martin Lawrence. He doesn't even do movies anymore. I don't blame him for doing movies because he really wasn't that good in movies. I don't like his kind of comedy, and like, yeah, when he's a leading role, like, I don't buy it. The only movie I really like him in is Blue Streak and Do the Right Thing, and he's barely in Do the Right Thing, so yeah. I just don't like his kind of comedy. I don't really like his movies, and this movie's not funny. It's predictable, it's cliched, it follows the formula. It's so boring, and the characters are just so unlikable, and there's a lot of cheesiness to it, and not cheesiness in a good way. in a very mind-numbing way, and I hated this movie. It's one of my least favorites. It would be my least favorite Scary Movie 5. Didn't exist on this earth, but we have Scary Movie 5 on this planet. Hopefully we don't get a Scary Movie 6. Yeah, I'm still talking about Scary Movie, but yeah. Anyways, next movie. Coming number 7 is Soul Man. Yes, you've been taking those dick pills again. Yes, Samuel Jackson and Bernie Mac. Rest in peace, Bernie Mac. I love Bernie Mac. Bernie Mac's great. The Bernie Mac Show, great show. He's a very funny comedian. He's not funny in this movie. This movie's not good. This movie's not funny. Again, it's not interesting. I don't care for these characters. I love Samuel Jackson. I love Bernie Mac, but they don't have chemistry in this movie. They don't give good performances. They're not very funny. This movie's not very enjoyable. It is a grind to watch. There is a moment or two that I kind of got a few chuckles, so that's what brings it up. That's what makes it a slightly better movie than Welcome Home, Roscoe Jenkins. Welcome Home, Roscoe Jenkins is just so overly long and so predictable and cliched and unfunny and unlikable. I just fucking hated every second of that movie. This one, I don't hate every second of the movie. I just hate the goddamn movie, and I never would watch it again. But yeah, it could have been much worse. Like, the music is okay. That's about it, and there's one or two scenes that got a kind of a snicker out of me. That's it. The actors aren't great. They don't have chemistry. There's not a very enjoyable story or plot to this film. It's just not a good movie. Coming number 6 is Undercover Brother. Undercover Brother actually is a pretty fun, enjoyable film. It's not a great movie. There's a lot of jokes that just miss. There's a lot of jokes that they don't hit with me. And again, it's a very predictable movie, and it's a very over-the-top, silly movie. And it knows it's a silly, ridiculous movie. This movie stars Eddie Griffin, and he's like this undercover brother with the big afro. He's like an undercover agent and stuff. And yeah, basically this movie has to do an undercover mission when he pretends to be a guy who thinks he's like a white guy. I'll kick you in your patootie. That's pretty funny. And yeah, it's actually, there's some moments in the movie that are really fun and really enjoyable, and the premise alone is interesting, and it's original, and it's kind of enjoyable. There, again, a lot of jokes do not hit in this movie, and some of it are pretty dated. This movie only came out in the early 2000s, but it is very dated, the film. But Eddie Griffin, again, a comedian that I don't always like, he is very enjoyable and very likable in this movie. Dave Chappelle's in this movie. He probably should have been the lead character because it's fucking Dave Chappelle. I love Dave Chappelle. He was really great in this movie. The movie all itself, it's a silly, ridiculous film, but it knows it's a ridiculous film. It's not a great film, but it's an enjoyable one. Coming number 5 is The Best Man Holiday. Yes, The Best Man Holiday. I never thought they would ever make a sequel to The Best Man, but they did, and it's got the cast. You got like Regina Hall, Gabrielle Union, Morris Chestnut, who's in a lot of these kind of movies, Terrence Howard, Taye Diggs, all of them are in this movie from the first one. It's good. The movie, again, it's overly long. It's like 2 hours and 5 minutes, and like it shouldn't be that long. It shouldn't be a Tyler Perry movie, and that's my biggest issue with the film. At times, it feels like a Tyler Perry movie with its sappy melodrama and its preachiness. It felt like I was watching a Tyler Perry movie. What makes it better than a Tyler Perry movie and still an enjoyable film is because there is genuine laughter in the film, and there is good performances in the film. There is good acting, especially by Morris Chestnut and Terrence Howard. They steal this film. Terrence Howard's probably the funniest person in this movie. He's the best in actually both versions, the first one and this one. And yeah, it does kind of put me in the holiday spirit and stuff, more so than that other movie that came out last year. I'm blanking on the title. Almost Christmas. Like, that movie last year didn't put me in the Christmas spirit, but this one does a little bit more, because it does have Christmas charm and Christmas spirit. It has that togetherness, the friendship of the family, stuff what Christmas is all about. And yeah, again, it's overly long. It has that Tyler Perry-isms, but it's still got interesting characters, good acting, and good comedy, and I enjoy it. Coming number 4 is The Best Man. The Best Man, basically what I said about The Best Man Holiday, I say almost the same for this one. The reason this one gets the edge a little bit is because it's a little more funnier. And again, this came out before Tyler Perry movies were a thing, so it had more raunchiness to it, more crude comedy, and it was really good. Taye Diggs and Morris Chestnut had good back and forth with each other. Terrence Howard is really great in this movie. Again, it's just a really good buddy comedy sort of film, and there's good relationship drama, good comedy. It's not overly long like the second one is, and yeah, I enjoy it. Coming number 3 is the movie Girls Trip. Yes, I just did a whole review of this, so I'm going to leave a link down below to my review of Girls Trip. And yeah, this was a really good, really fun, enjoyable film. The 4 ladies in this movie were all really fun and really enjoyable. We had great chemistry with each other. Jada Pinkett Smith, Tiffany Haddish, Queen Latifah, Gina Hall. They all have great chemistry. They all work great with each other. They have great performances. There are some really funny and really raunchy comedy scenes in this film. It has a pee joke, and they use the pee joke really hilariously. It's a really funny pee joke, and I don't laugh at pee jokes. It's one of the best damn pee jokes in the film, and yeah, there's even an acid trip joke, and that's even funny. They take predictable jokes and they make it funny, and they make it new and fresh. There's predictability in the film. There's some cliche things that I didn't like, but the movie's great, and yeah, I highly recommend it. It's still in theaters. Go check it out. Coming number 2 is the movie Roll Bounce. Roll Bounce is a very underrated comedy. This is such a great film. Again, it's about 2 hours, 10 minutes, and I always say about some of Michael D. Lee's movies, he goes overly long with his films. This one is rightfully long because it's a dramatic story. It's a coming-of-age story about these kids that have their own like roller skating sort of club. They go into this roller skating competition. It's about their teenage life. It's also about the main character, played by Bow Wow, and his dad, you know, struggling to get a job and stuff. He has to get jobs as a janitor and all this. And this all takes place like during the disco era. This whole movie feels very disco, and it's really cool. It's got great music, a great soundtrack, and really enjoyable characters. Like Brandon T. Jackson was in this movie, Nick Cannon was in this movie, Rick Gonzalez is in this movie. A lot of actors that I do not care for are all in this movie. They're all great in this movie. They all have great chemistry in this film. I love these teenagers, and I like their chemistry with each other. They feel like genuine teenagers, and yeah, they just love disco music. They love roller skating. They want to win the big contest. I love that. What's his name is the villain or the antagonist? His name. He's been in a lot of shows. So put his name up there. Yeah, I forget his name. Also, Paul Wesley's in this movie randomly, but yeah, I like the whole era it's set in. I like the setting it's set in. There's a lot of good jokes, there's good dramatic scenes, and I really enjoyed this coming of age story, and yeah, I personally enjoyed it. Barely anyone I know has ever seen this movie, but yeah, check it out if you haven't seen it. It's actually a really good film. And my number 1 favorite Malcolm D. Lee movie is Barbershop: The Next Cut. This movie came out last year. I don't think I ever did a review of it because I saw the movie really late. I saw it like a month and a half after it came out. So yeah, it was too little too late, but yeah, I loved this movie. This is a great film. I actually really enjoyed the Barbershop movies. Malcolm D. Lee didn't do the first 2, but he did this one. The first one is a great comedy with great performances. You got Cedric the Entertainer, Ice Cube, Michael Ealy, Sean Patrick Thomas, and even Keith David was in the first one. And yeah, it was a really good story, and a very simple story about like basically one day at the barbershop and all this stuff happens, and it's basically all these characters just talking in the barbershop, and it's really funny, it's really enjoyable, and you really love these characters. Barbershop 2 got a little more, more dramatic and stuff. I didn't really care for the second one. The second one had a lot of great comedic scenes. Like the scenes with them talking in the barbershop and the simplistic scenes were the best scenes in the movie, but they went into like romantic scenes. They brought in like the beauty shop girls. They brought into this like competition store who wants to stage their barbershop. It's another barbershop, but a fancier barbershop. They even go with flashbacks of like Martin Luther King getting assassinated, which really doesn't have much to do with the story and stuff. They throw so much in the second one, which is so not needed. What makes the Barbershop movies great is just the characters in the barbershop talking and joking around. That's why we want to watch the Barbershop. It's like Clerks. We want to watch Clerks because we want to see Dante and Randall, just talk about random stuff, movies and random shit. That's what we want to watch the Barbershop. With these guys, listen to these guys talk about random stuff in the barbershop. And Barbershop 2 has those things, but they just crammed a lot of jumbled things, and it wasn't very cohesive, and it was kind of a mediocre film. See, The Next Cut went back to the roots of the first one about them in the barbershop talking about random stuff, and it's actually my favorite barbershop movie. I always thought the first one was a great film, the second one was just eh. This one is actually even better than the first one. It's funnier, the characters have better arcs, the characters are more interesting and delightful. They bring in new characters that are even more enjoyable than the older characters, and it's just really good. I love the story, I like the characters, I like the comedy, and it's an all-around great film, and it's hands down my favorite Malcolm D. Lee movie. So yeah, that was my ranking of all of Malcolm Dealey's movies from my least favorite to my favorite. So in the comment section below, please tell me what is your ranking of all of Malcolm Dealey's movies from your least favorite to your favorite. Comment below, let me know. And as always for this video, please like, subscribe to this channel, and join the dark side.